There's a certain kind of action game that barely exists anymore. I'm talking about the kind of action that explosions fill the entire screen every few seconds, while giant alien monsters attack from every direction, and somehow the game expects the player to actually survive through just pure reflex. That is legitimately nothing else but Contra. And honestly, few games represent pure arcade adrenaline better than Contra 4 did back in 2007. Now, almost 20 years later, rumors surrounding a possible Contra 4 remaster project suddenly feels, well, a lot more believable right now, because Konami is clearly serious about reviving its classic franchises again. Here's the thing, in fact, over the past few years, the company has aggressively returned to premium game development with projects involving Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and most recently Contra Operation Galuga. And because of that renowned focus, well, fans have started wondering if Contra 4 could finally return as well, especially now that retro action games are becoming popular again. Honestly, the timing feels perfect, because Contra 4 was already ahead of its time in many ways. Developed by WayForward, released for the Nintendo DS in 2007, this game intentionally revived the brutal 2D action style that had classic arcade entries instead of just trying to modernize the franchise into something completely different. It brought amazing gameplay, huge boss fights, classic weapon systems and characters, non-stop enemy waves, and that just impossible level of intensity the series became famous for in the first place. Honestly, we all still love it. A lot of players genuinely consider Contra 4 one of the best entries in the entire franchise because it respected the old school arcade identity while still introducing new mechanics and larger cinematic battles as well. That's why the idea of a remaster sounds so good, because modern hardware could elevate that experience massively without needing to reinvent the whole formula. Like, imagine those classic alien battlefields rebuilt in full HD with dynamic lighting, cinematic explosions, and modern animation systems while still preserving the fast 2D gameplay fans love, massive mechanical bosses filling entire screens, laser fire illuminating storm, covered war zones, alien creatures crashing through environments while players fight through total chaos at full speed. That atmosphere alone could become unbelievable, and importantly, the remaster should absolutely preserve the original pacing. That's the soul of Contra. No endless cutscenes, no bloated open worlds, just survival. The second the mission starts, the player should immediately feel pressure. Bullets everywhere, enemies attacking non-stop, explosions shaking the screen while the soundtrack screams through the speakers like an arcade machine trying to melt itself apart. That intensity is timeless, especially today when many modern action games, well, feel slower and more cinematic. Contra works because it feels raw, immediate, almost violent in just how fast it moves. See, a remaster could finally make that speed look as insane as it felt. I mean, it always felt. And WayForward returning would make perfect sense now, because recent rumors already suggest that the studio may once again be collaborating with Konami on a major shooter franchise. Multiple reports in fact connected WayForward to a historic shooter property believed by many fans to be Contra, and honestly that would feel right. WayForward understood Contra better than almost anybody. Their version respected the intensity of the original game while still making the action feel modern enough for newer players. Giant bosses spanning multiple screens, grappling hook mechanics, faster movement, larger environments, everything still felt unmistakably Contra. A remaster could push all of that even further now. Like, imagine fully redrawn environments with layered destruction effects, while giant alien ships explode across the background during the gameplay. That visual chaos will fit Contra perfectly, and the soundtrack could become incredible as well. A remaster could push all of that even further now, because Contra music was never subtle. It was heavy drums, aggressive synths, pure adrenaline. A remaster soundtrack with modern audio production could make, every stage feel enormous now. The music should hit like a military operation collapsing into total alien warfare while the player barely survives 1 second at a time. That feeling matters because underneath all of the explosions and giant monsters in this game, Contra was always built around tension. You never really felt comfortable, you never really were comfortable. Never safe. One mistake and everything ended immediately. In this game, in fact, the pressure creates the magic. And honestly, modern audiences are starting to experience games like that again. Players miss action games. That demand reflects in concentration instead of retro-inspired shooters. Contra 4 already delivered that feeling beautifully. A remaster now could fully introduce it properly to a whole new generation, especially because many players never experienced the original DS version at all. The game remained trapped on older hardware despite becoming one of the franchise's most respected entries. Modern platforms could completely change that. Visually, the bosses alone could become legendary now. This is where Contra always shines brightest. Gigantic alien creatures, mechanical war machines, screen-filling monstrosities just attacking from every angle, while the player dodges bullets by inches. A lot of players genuinely consider Contra 4 one of the best entries in the entire franchise because it respected the old-school arcade identity while still introducing new mechanics and larger cinematic battles as well. That's why the idea of a remaster sounds so good, because modern hardware could elevate that experience massively without needing to reinvent the whole formula. Like, imagine those classic alien battlefields we built in full HD with dynamic lighting, cinematic explosions, and modern animation systems while still preserving the fast 2D gameplay fans love, massive mechanical bosses filling entire screens, laser fire illuminating storm, covered war zones, alien creatures crashing through environments while players fight through total chaos at all full speed. Modern hardware could turn those encounters into absolute insanity. Like, imagine entire buildings collapsing during boss fights, massive cybergenetic creatures chasing players across collapsing battlefields while explosions light up the whole sky. That scale could become unbelievable, and importantly, the remaster should still preserve co-op, because Contra was always better with another player beside you. Two soldiers fighting through impossible situations together while screaming at each other as well. And honestly, the gaming industry currently lacks this exact type of action game. Fast 2D shooters still exist, but few franchises really carry the same legacy and intensity as Contra. The name itself immediately tells players what kind of experience they're about to get. No mercy, no slowing down, just non-stop war against impossible odds. That simplicity still works perfectly. The excitement still exists for a reason. Contra represents something gaming rarely prioritizes anymore. That is pure action, simple goals, total chaos, and honestly that's why the idea of a Contra 4 remastered project feels good to even imagine. Bill and Lance sprinting through impossible battlefields while laser fire tears through the darkness from every direction. And of course, somewhere inside all of that chaos, one of gaming's greatest run-and-gun shooters, finally preparing for another war all over again.